Hi, my name is Gibson, and I'm the co-owner and creator of the Personal Development School. This is your daily breakthrough video, and in this video, I'm going to talk to you about fearful avoidance and how they tend to deactivate, specifically around serious commitment. So not commitment as a whole, but serious commitment. And we're going to talk about why this takes place and what to do about it if you find yourself in this position, or even if you're on the recipient end of being with somebody who's FA and then noticing that this is taking place. Okay, so before I dive in, we are doing a sale right now for 25% off membership bundles for 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. Coupon code is with you, all one word. I'll put a link in the description box below and in this video. And this is for the all access membership pass. So this means you get access to every single course. I get a lot of questions about this, so I'm going to start clarifying a little bit better. You get access to all the previously recorded courses. So it's like 32 or somewhere between 30 and 35 courses we have now on everything from like repairing trust, overcoming loneliness, reprogramming your attachment style, navigating your attachment style in each of the 6 stages of a relationship, and understanding what other people's needs and imprints are and expectations are. So you actually have like a framework to understand relationships from. We have so many different courses. I won't go into all of them, but like boundaries, enmeshment, codependency, releasing resentment, learning to properly forgive, like really, really powerful stuff. And literally every day in webinars, people are like, I'm secure now, I'm acting secure, I did this, it's secure. Like there are tremendous results coming out of the school, like tremendous. And we get all kinds of like really amazing emails from people with thank yous and just sharing. So if you're finding yourself in a place where you're like, okay, what does it cost me to keep going through these same patterns that are painful in relationships? And, where do I want to be at in my life? The school will honestly be a great resource for you. And we offer a 30-day money back guarantee if you're not extremely happy, because literally, like, it is my intention that everybody goes into the school, heals, comes out with thriving relationships, feels amazing and empowered. And if people are not happy with the content in any way within that time of like testing things out and seeing, then I will fully support anybody changing, or like whatever it is, giving a money back guarantee. And that's just not the case that we see in there. So let me dive into this. So this is actually a question that came from inside of our members lounge, and somebody said, I noticed I deactivate around really serious commitment, and what can I do about this? So first and foremost, you want to recognize, oh, by the way, the coupon code with you, I'll put in the description box below and in this video if I didn't say that already. So the reasons for this are that if we look at fearful avoidance, many of their fears are basically around like really profound reliance or dependency on other people. So it's, we look at like the dating phase for a fearful avoidant of a relationship, and we often see the fearful avoidant shows up so well. If they have any little triggers, they're able to overcome them because they are not in a position yet to feel like the profound parts of themselves are compromised. And you can think of, for most fearful avoidants, the more profound the commitment, the more profound the vulnerability, the more profound the potential of betrayal of trust, the more the subconscious mind is going to compensate on the other side by trying to pull away and get away from that, because of the subconscious associations that have previously been built in relative to the experience of dependency and being able to rely on somebody else. And so this usually comes, like we know, from enmeshment, from seeing a lot of pain or chaos growing up, things like that. And it creates this dynamic in the fearful avoidant where they want love, they want commitment, and they will be okay usually to jump into like romantic relationships. But when it comes to bigger things like living together, like engagement, marriage, these sorts of things, children, buying a house, things like that, where it's like, let's do things where we literally have to rely on each other and we intertwine our lives enough where that's required, this is the place that you are going to see the fearful avoidance deactivate the most out of anything, minus when they feel like trust is actually broken and when they feel hurt. So like, minus if they're really triggered, this is going to be the next biggest deactivation you'll see. And in fact, this type of deactivation will be like more pervasive. It'll be like a total deactivation. Whereas a wound or being triggered will be very specific to the experience. The emotion attached to the wound or trigger will usually be stronger, but this overall doom sort of feeling for fearful avoidance can be larger in this area, okay, of serious commitment than in wounding. So not in terms of intensity of emotion, but in terms of like the blanket effect of it. And this is something I've seen for so many fearful avoidance over the years. So what do you do about this? Well, first, you have to recognize that this is not about the relationship. It can be, it absolutely can be about the relationship. But you have to do your due diligence as a person. If you're experiencing this as a fearful avoidant, you have to do your due diligence to discover, is this about the relationship, or is this about fears I have about relationships? And now I have all the love and care I have for the relationship in competition with these stored fears I have around relationships, just like we were talking recently about the dismissive avoidance and their experience of this. And if you're in a space where you're feeling like you have 9 out of 10 love or care for a person, but then all of a sudden like 8 out of 10 fears are activated, then you're not going to be then it's going to feel to you like you are only carrying 1 out of 10. And so, or if it's 9 and 6, then it's going to feel like a 3. Like you get the idea, right? And so what you have to do is you have to discover, well, what is this? What is causing me to deactivate? What are these feelings made up of? What are the stored associations I have, the programs I have, in other words, like what are the beliefs I have or stories I'm carrying about relationships as a whole? And the categories that are so important to cover are, what does commitment mean? What does big commitment mean? What does it mean to depend on somebody else? What are my fears about relying on somebody else? What are my fears about putting myself in a position where my safety, and I don't mean like some like physical safety in the sense of like, commitment means somebody's going to physically hurt you. I mean commitment in the idea that like if you intertwine your living circumstances, have children, have like a marriage and your finances are intertwined, these sorts of things, are you afraid that like that physical safety will be taken away? Are you afraid that you'll lose that and that enmeshing that with somebody puts you at risk? And if so, why? Where do these things come from? What are your subconscious associations about these things? What are your earliest memories? What is the programming? And then what you want to do is you want to work to do the reprogramming work around that stuff, not so that you can just fearlessly dive into committing it to anybody at the drop of a hat, because that won't change. Your caution won't go away. Your like recognition and awareness won't go away, but you won't be making decisions from fear. You'll be making decisions from a space of clarity because you've removed the programs and you're able to see the person and the relationship clearly. And so that is very, very important work to do if you find yourself in that position. So again, if it were sort of broken down into steps, it would be like, notice that there's fears. Ask yourself, what are my fears about commitment, about dependency, about relying on others, about closeness, about my safety if I'm relying on somebody else or intertwining my life with somebody else? What are my beliefs about people in long-term relationships and how they show up? And on what are my beliefs about change in people? And dump out everything that you can find. And then work to reprogram the things you know are not serving you by changing the story, looking for counteracting pieces of evidence, and doing this repetitively enough so that you're creating cognitive reframes and following them up consistently enough that you start to see equilibrium. And that's one form of reprogramming tool. There's like so many more deeper and more powerful ones, but that's just a really great place to get started at a high level. And that's something anybody can really do the work around. So I hope this makes sense. I hope this was helpful. It was a really fantastic comment or question I got from somebody. So thank you for sharing and asking. And thank you guys for being here and being a part of this community and channel. And I will see you in the next video.